As 3310 came to a close, humanity celebrated the arrival of the new year with the destruction of the final Thargoid titan, Cocijo. That epic battle, which took place in orbit over humanity's homeworld, signaled the official end of the Second Thargoid War, which had started almost 7 years prior in 3303. But how did we get here? The journey from its humble beginnings to the epic final battle is an amazing story that commanders from all walks of life will talk about for generations to come. In this video, I'm going to go through the final stages of the Second Thargoid War, covering the high points and some of the intrigue that make this era of Elite Dangerous truly special. This is the Twilight of the Second Thargoid War. The story of the climax of the Second Thargoid War begins way back in 3306 with the discovery of the derelict megaship Adamastor. Originally dispatched by Azimuth Biochemicals in 3111, the ship fell afoul of a series of devastating malfunctions caused by an unknown alien artifact brought on board by a planetary survey team. Research into the fate of the mysterious vessel has shown that a science team in the Musca Dark region brought back an alien artifact believed to be of Thargoid origin. The artifact's presence on the ship caused significant malfunctions and slowed progress to its original destination. Eventually, the ship was attacked by enemy sleeper agents who attempted to seize control, but for whatever reason, chose not to keep the ship for themselves. Instead, she was abandoned to the cold depths of outer space and lost for centuries. Fast forward to 3306, when the Adamastor entered the Chukchan system, where it was discovered as a ghost ship. Alliance Salvage Guild team members secured the ship and towed it to a stable orbit around Chukchan 5b. Once safely secured in orbit, an undeployed communications beacon on board automatically reactivated and began receiving a strange broadcast from an individual known only as Salvation. The Adamastor's sister ship, the Hesperus, was discovered in 3307 by the Scrivener's clan dredger in the Perseus Dark region. But all was not as it seemed with this discovery. It was determined by independent pilots, with the assistance of the mysterious Salvation, that the Hesperus was the source of the signal being received on board the Adamastor. Much like its sister ship, the Hesperus suffered an unfortunate fate at the hands of Pharmasapien agents, the chief rival to Azimuth Biochemicals. Using the same tactics that were used against the Adamastor, the enemy agents massacred the crew and scientists on board the Hesperus. Some survivors escaped the Hesperus aboard a ship called the Proteus, but after the attack, the Hesperus remained adrift in space for over 2 centuries. Shortly after discovering the derelict, the Scriveners stripped the Hesperus of most of its valuable components, except for a few log entries that provided additional links to the mysterious Salvation figure. When news of the Hesperus' discovery with Salvation's assistance broke, suspicion over Salvation's intentions began to rise. The Pilots' Federation opened an inquiry into Salvation shortly thereafter when concerns were raised that he appeared to be recruiting commanders for a yet unknown mission. But who exactly is Salvation? Most of what we know about him comes from legends and humanity's brief experience with him in the waning years of the Second Thargoid War. Born Caleb Wycherley, he was typically referred to by one of 2 pseudonyms, Salvation and the Witch. What we know about Salvation is that he was an employee and vice president of research for the 32nd century Azimuth Biochemicals. After the reappearance of the Adamastor and Hesperus, Salvation led an effort to re-establish the defunct Azimuth and recruit commanders to support him. This led to a fracture across the galaxy, with some commanders pledging their support to Salvation and his renewed efforts to eliminate the Thargoids, and others seeking to actively resist him and his followers. The story of Caleb Wycherley, aka Salvation, came to a fiery conclusion on 25 August 3308 in HIP 22460, when the ancient scientist revealed his Proteus Wave weapon. This hybrid human guardian weapon was built into the ruins of an ancient Thargoid outpost and designed to wipe out the alien menace once and for all. The galaxy watched in anticipation as the words, "This is "Salvation" rang out across communication channels, and the Proteus weapon was fired from the bridge of the Bright Sentinel, his research megaship. The weapon was initially successful, and all known Thargoids were temporarily disabled. However, a sudden power surge revealed that the Thargoids had devised a counter-defense. A powerful wave of energy surged through the cosmos and destroyed the bridge of the Bright Sentinel, allegedly killing Salvation in the process. The Thargoids reactivated and began a relentless assault on local human forces before suddenly a terrifying roar came from the depths of space. Shortly after the devastating attack in HIP 22460, 8 rogue signal sources appeared in deep space on an apparent trajectory for human-occupied territories. As the signals came closer to the bubble, the signals took on the appearance of bright green spiral lights that could be seen from many locations. These phenomena were named Stargoids and monitored closely by commanders from all walks of life. The first of the Stargoids to enter human space set up a deadly cloud of caustic gases in the Hyades sector FBN B7-6 system. Known as Taranis, this immense and seemingly impenetrable cloud of death, designated as Maelstroms, launched massive numbers of Thargoid warships that decimated human colonies throughout the region. Soon, 7 other Maelstroms were established by the remaining Stargoids, with equally devastating results. Entire star systems were wiped of their human inhabitants. Each of the Maelstroms were given a designation based on the gods of various ancient Earth religions: Indra, Leigong, Cocijo, Oya, Thor, Raijin, and Hadad were completely impenetrable by human pilots due to the caustic cloud that would disable Guardian weapons and modules, as well as eat away at a commander's hull before they could penetrate the core. To add complications to the already challenging cloud, a pulse wave would radiate from the central core, which would push any ship attempting to enter the cloud out into space. Humanity found itself immediately on the losing side of the war and needed a solution quickly to avoid complete destruction. As emergency personnel rushed to evacuate refugees from invaded systems, pilots and ground personnel soon found themselves facing a new set of enemies and mysteries in occupied systems. The first of these was a new type of biomechanical defense drone called Revenants that began patrolling abandoned settlements in captured systems. Revenants emitted an eerie green cone of light that they used to track movement within a human settlement. If a human was detected, the light would turn red, and the Revenant would immediately become hostile, engaging its enemy with powerful laser attacks. Although these drones posed a danger to on-foot operators, they could easily be dispatched with a few shots from a Manticore rifle. Destroying all Revenants patrolling a controlled settlement would prompt the arrival of a Thargoid scout that would deploy reinforcements to secure the facility, which created a never-ending loop of automated Thargoid guardians for these settlements. As combat operations against the Thargoids gained traction, it wasn't long before the Thargoids expanded their operation in new and terrifying ways. On October 16, 3309, pilots discovered the first Thargoid spire sites. These immense structures, which stretched approximately 6 kilometers into the sky, were the result of evolved Thargoid barnacle sites. These locations introduced a powerful new enemy as well, the Banshee. These immense biomechanical drones deployed dozens of caustic grenades that would attach to structures and explode after a few seconds. The spire sites were also home to Orthrus cruisers and Thargoid interceptors, offering a prime training ground for prospective AX pilots or for commanders looking to earn credits while farming Thargoid ships. With care, a commander could infiltrate these locations and obtain materials that would later become instrumental in the war effort. It was around this time that reports of abducted humans began to filter through the news cycles. The Thargoids were not just attacking settlements and killing people, they were capturing them. Initial reports on the fate of these captives were vague, but most people believed that the captives were hauled away to whatever lie at the center of the Maelstroms. It wasn't long before research into the technology used to create the Maelstroms provided commanders with the ability to break through the caustic clouds. The introduction of a modifying heat sink that allowed pilots to remove caustic buildup enabled further penetration into the cloud itself, while a Thargoid pulse neutralizer nullified the effects of the repulsor wave, which gave commanders their first look at the interior. As many had theorized, the center of the Maelstroms was home to immense Thargoid motherships. These ships, designated as Titans, were covered in defensive turrets, surrounded by marauding Thargoid interceptors, and, to no one's surprise, were invulnerable. Commanders tried for months to penetrate the alien armor, but were unable to effect any damage on the caustic behemoths. The tide of the war changed with the introduction of what had become known as Ramtah's Thargoid superweapon. Rumors had swirled for weeks that Ramtah was on the verge of unlocking the key to destroying the Titans. Ultimately, humanity's salvation would manifest in the form of the Guardian nanite torpedo launcher. This human-Guardian hybrid weapon was designed to launch destructive nanites into the Titan's exhaust port. This allowed commanders to take advantage of the immense heat generated by the alien motherships, because the torpedo disrupted the Titan's regular heat management cycle. With the exhaust ports disabled, the Titan was forced to expose its core to space to cool itself. This core, known as the Pineapple to the community, was the key to taking out the Titans. Taranis, the first Titan to arrive in the bubble, became the first target of humanity's retaliation. At the end of April 3310, the assault on Titan Taranis began as commanders from across the galaxy converged on the caustic behemoth. The assault lasted for many hours, and after constant bombardment of its central core, the last heart of Taranis' power center was destroyed. This sent the Titan into a meltdown state for the next 24 hours. It was during this period that uncertainty about the next step in the war was at its peak. No one had seen a Titan destroyed, and speculation was high over what would happen when the countdown reached zero. On 2 March 3310, the world watched as Titan Taranis exploded in a real-time caustic fireball, sending commanders hurtling into the depths of space. It was one of the most spectacular moments in Elite Dangerous history, as humanity was finally poised to turn the war against its toxic alien foe. Along with conducting research on how to destroy the Titans, additional studies were conducted into the fate of millions of missing people captured by the Thargoids. Analysis of the Titans revealed that these captured colonists were indeed being held in pods aboard them. Tools and weapons were eventually developed to retrieve these pods and return people to their homes. Unfortunately, the reality of these rescue efforts were more complicated than originally expected. Medical analysis of the survivors showed indication that they had been modified at the genetic level by the Thargoids, possibly to prolong their lives while kept in Thargoid stasis pods. Although the true extent and details of these modifications were never publicly released during the war, fears began to arise among the general population that people held captive on the Titans would come under Thargoid influence and conduct clandestine operations against humanity as Thargoid sleeper agents or zombies. The object of these fears never manifested, but concern remains about the safety of releasing these people back into the general galactic population. Many millions of survivors from the Titans are believed to be in the custody of the various superpowers this very day. With the remains of Taranis still smoldering, pilots turned their attention to the next weakest Titans. Using a combination of the Guardian nanite torpedoes and AX combat skills gained from fighting Taranis, Titan Oya fell on 17 March 3310, and Titan Leigong fell on 21 April 3310. An often overlooked outcome of large-scale war is the rapid advancement of technology. The Guardian nanite torpedoes and the Thargoid pulse neutralizer and the caustic sink were just a few of the significant advancements forged during the conflict. But perhaps no other technology had such a transformative effect on the galaxy than the Supercruise Overcharge Drive, or SCO drive, introduced shortly after the destruction of Leigong. This new Frameshift drive, the first of its kind produced by Achilles Aerospace and built from the same drive technology that powered the Thargoid Titans, enabled pilots to boost their supercruise travel and to traverse immense distances in a matter of minutes. This travel came at the expense of intense heat generation and fuel consumption, but these limitations were eventually addressed with the release of a new line of ships built around this emerging technology. SCO soon became the dominant frameshift drive technology across the galaxy, putting serious pressure on the corporate megalith, Sirius Corporation. The war was changing everything about our galaxy. Following the release of the SCO drive and the fall of Leigong, humanity settled into a strangely familiar pattern for the next few months. Combat pilots practically perfected their skills at removing the defending forces from Titan-controlled systems. Titan Hadad fell to AX forces on 26 May 3310. Titan Indra fell on 9 July 3310. Titan Thor fell on 18 August 3310. And Titan Raijin, which presented much more of a challenge than its previous companions, finally fell to AX forces on 24 October 3310. After 8 months of steamrolling the Thargoid Titans with Ramtaz Guardian-based weapons, it seemed that it was only a matter of time before the last Titan was eliminated and humanity would claim ultimate victory. Then, on 28 November 3310, Cocijo suddenly powered its hyperdrive system and left its perch for the cradle of humanity. Pilots around the galaxy were once again tracking a Stargoid in deep space as it traversed multiple inhabited systems on its way to the heart of humanity. Cocijo and the Thargoids were on their way to Earth. Cocijo arrived in Earth orbit on 5 December 3310, and the screams of devastation could be heard through chilling audio transmissions across the system. Devastation was widespread, with multiple stations being knocked offline and thousands of ships destroyed, including 2 Farragut battlecruisers and 8 rescue megaships. The response to the Sol invasion was swift. Thousands of commanders from all walks of life descended upon humanity's home system to defend Earth. The Thargoid forces were quickly repelled, and Cocijo soon found itself vulnerable in high Earth orbit. With nothing left to defend it, the assault began, and Cocijo was swiftly overwhelmed. After a 24-hour meltdown sequence, the last Titan erupted in a caustic fireball on 18 December 3310. Humanity's home was safe, and the Second Thargoid War was over. There is an ancient Earth adage that says war never changes, and the Second Thargoid War is a testament to that fact. It is largely believed that humanity is responsible for instigating hostility with the Thargoids, but the truth of those first encounters are lost to history. From the days of Commander John Jameson to the victory over Earth against Cocijo, the Thargoids have shaped much more about humanity's destiny than we care to admit. And although the war is over, the Thargoids are not gone. They remain a formidable adversary that could reappear at any moment. Humanity must remain ready to face that challenge, but that readiness should never cloud our ability to open dialogue and make peace when possible. If there are common grounds to be reached with the Thargoids, then we owe it to our children to seek out those grounds. Otherwise, we will be doomed to repeat the same violent circle of death and destruction that has plagued us for centuries. For now, the galaxy is safe and time marches on. I'm Commander Exorcist. Take care, fly safe, and I will see you out there.